Since returning from injury back in early January, Zion Williamson is averaging 25 points per game on 62% true shooting. Now you might think to yourself, cool, that's impressive, but what is 25 points nowadays? There's so many guys who average 25 points. What's so impressive about what Zion's doing? And I'd say, sure, maybe there's a little bit of truth to that, but the big difference is Zion's doing it in only 27 minutes per game. In fact, if you look at the top scorers in the NBA right now since January 1st, even though he's 19th in points per game since the start of the new year, he's actually second in points per minute. Since his return, he ranks 135th in minutes per game. So yeah, when you compare him to guys who are scoring 30 points per game right now, the 25 points per game maybe isn't that impressive. But if you turn on any Pelicans game this year, you're going to see that when Zion is on the floor, he is an unstoppable force attacking the basket nonstop. And this is why he's able to rack up so many points, even though he's only playing 27 minutes per game. Per 36 minutes, Zion's averaging 32 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 6.7 assists. That is ridiculous production. Now, a big reason for this success is because Zion Williamson is genuinely one of the most difficult players to defend in the entire NBA. And it's because of three very important traits that he possesses: his athleticism and size, his overall skill both as a ball handler and finisher, and his feel for the game. We've been seeing a lot lately that defenses are having a really hard time trying to game plan for Zion because of how he's able to punish pretty much every single coverage that you throw at him, not only as a scorer, but also as a passer. Yeah, if Zion Williamson was just a guy looking to score 100% of the time, then maybe defenses would have an easier time slowing him down, but it's the fact that he can pick you apart in so many different ways that gives them a really hard time. So on this first play, he's bringing the ball up the floor. They're gonna set up this empty side pick and roll. Misi's gonna come up, he's gonna set the screen on Booker, and Nick Richards is gonna be hanging back in a little bit of a drop, and I think he was anticipating Zion to reject this screen from Misi so that he could drive left. And since Richards was more prepared for that, instead of him using the screen to drive right up the middle, he's already gonna be in a difficult position where he's got to get into a recovery. You see he has to flip around and try and get in front of Zion. And this is where Zion wants him, because once he sees Nick Richards start to get more towards the middle of the paint, Zion's gonna hit him with this spin move to leave him completely helpless as he rises to put the ball in the basket. Now on this play, they're gonna switch the ball screen. And this time the Pelicans are gonna take advantage of the fact that Richards isn't the one playing in the ball screen action, instead having Devin Booker here. And this is just not a situation that you want Devin Booker to be in, having to try and slow down Zion Williamson. And even though they do have Richards in the restricted area ready to contest a shot at the rim, Zion is going to stop outside of the restricted area and he's going to knock down this floater, which is a very high percentage look for him. Now again, they're going to have Booker switch onto Zion. He's going to get into this empty side of the floor, and they're going to preemptively have Richards come up to show on a Zion drive. And even though Booker does a pretty good job of denying this drive middle by Zion, when he pulls the ball back, he's going to get by Booker, leaving Richards as the only one there who can do anything. And again, it really doesn't matter what you do against Zion, because he's going to find a way to muscle his way around you so that he can get to the basket and finish. On this play, when Zion's bringing the ball up the floor, he gets inside the arc. Kevin Durant's kind of expecting that drive. Nick Richards is going to show on Zion's right side, making sure that they stop any potential drive, and they actually get him to pick up his dribble. Now, the problem is Misi's going to come like he's going to set a screen on Durant, and since Nick Richards was overplaying the potential of that right side drive, Zion's going to hit Misi with a quick pitch, allowing him to curl off of this little handoff that they improvise inside the arc, and it sets Zion up with a head of steam going towards Nick Richards on the left, and he takes off from at least 2.5 feet outside of the restricted area, going up to the basket, and Nick Richards just isn't able to compete with that verticality when Zion's able to just rise to the rim like this. Now the Pels are going to go a different direction on this play, having Zion get the ball near the elbow, and the second that he faces up and starts that that dribble drive to the right, you can see the whole defense is just going to collapse on him in the paint. And especially when you're helping off the strong side corner like this, Zion's going to make that pass to the corner shooter every single time. Now, this play is going to be really interesting because it's a really great example of how the attention that Zion Williamson gets from a defense on any given possession makes things easier for everybody else, and it can be that starting point for generating offense. So he's got Ryan Dunn here. He's going to get the ball at the elbow again, and the Suns aren't sending any aggressive coverage yet, but you can see Devin Booker over in the weak side corner. He's playing off of the corner pretty aggressively. He's got a foot in the paint. And so Zion sees this, and he's going to make that pass to the corner, allowing Devin Booker's closeout to be attacked. And once that attack comes, Plumlee's going to help off the weak side corner, getting the defense into rotation where Dunn is now going to have to close out to the corner on Robinson Earl. Robinson Earl is going to attack that closeout, keeping the defense in rotation, and it sets Jose Alvarado with an open wing three. And even though he misses the shot, guess who's there to get the offensive rebound and put it back and get to the free throw line? We're going to see another switch here from the Suns where Hawkins looks like he's going to come up. He's going to set this screen on Dunn, but in reality, he's going to ghost it. And this gets Ryan Dunn to switch off of Zion and forces Booker onto Zion, which is a more favorable matchup. It's a much smaller body. But the crazy thing about this possession is once Alvarado clears Tyus Jones out from this driving lane and opens things up for Zion, once he gets to the basket against Plumlee, he goes up with his right hand and he's going to keep it in his right hand throughout the majority of this shot. And by the time he's ending up behind the backboard, he's going to switch to his left hand and get the ball around Plumlee's contest, and somehow he's able to get it to fall. This possession is also going to highlight some of the stuff that he's been doing off ball this year that I think has been really impactful. He sets the initial screen on Kyrie, and he doesn't dive immediately, but he notices that there's a lot of space here. Omax Prosper is helping off of Murphy a little bit. There's this opening heading towards the right elbow, and so when Murray passes it to McCollum in the corner, Zion is going to dive to the basket so he can get the ball in stride. And again, when you give Zion a head of steam like this, there's very little you can do to stop him. PJ gets there and Gafford gets there, but Zion goes up. He uses that right arm to shield the contest of Gafford to get him away a little bit. And then it's insane the touch that you have to get this shot to fall. He has to place it perfectly to where Gafford can't block the shot, and it's just a perfect finish. Zion doesn't have to be directly at the rim either. He's fully capable of rising for those little floaters and push shots just outside of the restricted area. And this oftentimes catches defenses off guard because they're expecting him to try to go to the rim. And so he takes advantage of that hesitancy and that space that they give him, and he converts them at a high rate, one of the most efficient rates in the NBA. So the Suns finally start to realize, okay, we can't give Zion a head of steam going downhill. We're going to have to send in extra body as quickly as we possibly can. When he gets fed in the post here, they're going to have Bol come up immediately and send that double. But Zion has such good feel and he reads the floor so well that he knows there's going to be a shooter open in the opposite side corner. And at a critical point in this game with 3.5 minutes left and only a 5-point lead, he's able to create a wide open easy catch and shoot three. And then shortly after all of this, it seems like the Suns just kind of realized, okay, there's not really anything we can do to stop him. So they just guard him one-on-one with Richards, and it doesn't go very well. And when you put a subpar defender on Zion Williamson and you allow him to get ahead of steam going downhill and you leave him covered one-on-one and don't send extra bodies, he's gonna get to the rim and score. I understand that this season is kind of a wash for the Pelicans. They're gonna end up being a lottery team, but I don't think that should completely overshadow the impact that Zion has had this year. He's genuinely had one of the most impactful offensive seasons of his career. The Pelicans are 14.4 points per 100 possessions better with Zion on the floor versus when he's off. Of all players with at least 600 minutes played this season, that's the 5th highest on-off swing in the entire league. And with Zion, it's not like his physical dominance is the only thing that allows him to have success. It's the fact that he has all of these physical traits, this ridiculous athleticism, and this skill that turns him into this really unique player that we don't see a ton of in today's NBA. It seems like nowadays we spend so much time talking about how, oh, every team plays the same way. All of these stars play the same way. Nobody's game is unique. And even though I'm somebody who thinks that that narrative is just completely false, I point to a guy like Zion Williamson and I say, Watch Zion play. He doesn't attempt a ton of threes. He's predominantly inside the arc. He's not just predominantly inside the arc, he's predominantly at the rim. You're rarely going to see Zion take jump shots over the course of a game, even in the mid-range. He has all of those traits of that more old school type of bruiser that everybody seems to be longing for nowadays. And ultimately, I really just hope that next season he's able to play a full season or close to a full season and we can get him healthy for a playoff series. And second, I hope that the Pelicans can put a competitive team around him that really maximizes the strengths that he has. And I understand that it may not feel like it as much anymore, but Zion Williamson was a generational prospect. We don't see guys with his physical tools every single draft. This is a guy that doesn't come along very often. And I just hope that we get to see him and the Pelicans at full strength in the very near future. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Regardless, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.